What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Abe. This is EVE Online, but more specifically, this is the EVE Online website, and we're going to look at the patch notes for February 2018. I have a real job, so I have to write when these were released, but let's go through them now. I hear there are big changes to player structures and possibly some stuff for drones as well, which will affect us. But let's see. Let's just get into it, and we'll see what's happened. So again, this is for February of 2018, release 1.0. It was released on Tuesday, February 13th. Just starting right at the top, we're getting into the features and changes. They made some changes to audio. They updated the WWise audio engine to the latest version for improved audio stability and performance, which is good. I don't know if this is a common thing across all players, but sometimes the audio has been hitching, and maybe this will fix that. So let's see. Balancing. This patch contains a balance pass affecting assault frigates and heavy assault cruisers. Full details and discussion can be found at this thread. Assault frigates' maximum velocity is increased by 18%. All assault frigates' mass is reduced by 10%, and assault frigates' capacitor capacity is increased by 30%. The Ishkur assault frigate bonus per skill level is now 7.5% drone tracking speed. It was 5 cubic meters additional drone bay per level, and the drone bay was increased to 50 cubic meters. It was 25. Retribution assault frigate bonus per skill level is now 5% bonus to small energy turret rate of fire. It was a 7.5% bonus to small energy turret tracking speed, and the power grid was increased to 62 from 56. The Jaguar, which is the Minmatar frigate bonus, per skill level is 5% to rocket and light missile rate of fire. It was 5% bonus to small projectile turret damage. And 7.5% bonus to shield boost amount. Was 7.5% bonus to small projectile turret tracking speed. So I guess they're shifting the Jaguar away from projectiles and towards rockets and shield boosting, which I would guess pretty drastically changes the role that this thing's going to fill. Let's see. Continuing on. Assault frigate bonus per skill level. 5% bonus to... and this is probably just across the board. 5% bonus to rocket and light missile damage. It was a 10% bonus to... You see, this isn't explained very well, but this must be for... Maybe it's just... I don't know, it doesn't say which types of assault frigates, so let's just assume it's across all of them, although they start referencing projectile turrets, so maybe it's Minmatar only, but we'll just figure it's to all... unless we hear otherwise, and we get into this in our other activities. So 5% bonus to rocket and light missile damage. Used to be 10% bonus to small projectile turret optimal range. 5% bonus to rocket and light missile explosion velocity, which was originally a 5% bonus to small projectile turret damage. CPU is increased to 185 from 170. The mid slots were increased to 5 from 4. Low slots were reduced from 4 to 3. Launcher slots were increased to 3, which was 1. Turret slots were reduced to 1 from 3. And drone bandwidth was increased to 10 cubic meters, although that's not bandwidth. I would guess that the bandwidth is just 10 megabits per second, which allows you to control 2 drones. And the drone bay itself was increased to 20 cubic meters as opposed to 0. So they've given you some drones. They've shifted you to rockets and light missiles. I want to say that this has to be... Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, it has to be for Minmatar. Just because... you've got the Retribution Assault Frigate bonus. The Ishkur was called out specifically. I don't know. So we'll just have to see what comes out there. So that's interesting. Graphics. Various under-the-hood graphics engine optimizations and refactorings to optimize for upcoming improvements and changes to the visuals of the game. We've renovated the next set of world object assets found in dungeons, giving them the latest V5 shader treatment. I apologize now if strange noises come from the laptop next to me, but we'll just keep pushing on. Implants. New implants added for the Guardians Gala event. Keep your loved ones close and keep your enemies within reach of your webifiers. InQuest Eros Stasis Webifier MR80X are slot 8 implants that increase stasis webifier ranges by a percentage based on the strength of the implant. Modules. Added a set of new damage control modules called Assault Damage Controls, which can only be used by heavy assault cruisers and assault frigates. Assault Damage Controls provide passive resist to shield, armor, and structure. They can also be activated to provide extreme resistance to shield, armor, and structure for a short duration. Sounds like those hull mods that you can get on larger ships. Added following Assault Damage Control types: Assault Damage Control 1, EFFA, Compact Assault Damage Control, FFR, Enduring Assault Damage Control, Assault Damage Control 2, and Shadow Serpentis Assault Damage Control. So there's a few different versions to use there. Missions and NPCs. Guardians Gala event runs from the 13th until the 27th of February. That's too bad. I'm probably going to miss most of that. I'm going to be out on vacation. 2 sites to crash. The VIP sites may require a fleet. 2 challenges awarding points for the agency-granted rewards. Changes have been made to pirate shipyards and forward operating bases. Let's see. Blood Raider and Garista's shipyards can be found in all of low and null security space. Pirate shipyards and FOBs have a limited amount of reinforcements for their defensive fleets. Structures and deployables. All Upwell structures are receiving a firmware update, Upwell Structures 2.0, which will affect all existing structures and any structures deployed in the future. Moon mining, and there's looks like a lot of detail at a dev blog that was posted there, and there's a link if you want to find it. You can find it there. Moon mining has been introduced to wormhole space and high security systems with a security level of 0.5. The mechanics remain unchanged and details can be found here. All Upwell structures are now either in full power or low power mode. Upwell structures require an online service module of any kind to be in high power mode. Upwell structures with no online service modules will be in low power mode, which will incur the following effects. Negative 33% reduced shield and armor hit points, 1 less reinforcement cycle, jumping straight to the final reinforcement as soon as the structure shields are destroyed, skipping armor entirely. Low power structures can be identified through a label on their text bracket beside the structure name. The vulnerability and reinforcement system that affects all Upwell structures has been updated. There's quite a few updates here. Structure owners will now choose an hour of the day and a day of the week as their structure's reinforcement time and reinforcement day, respectively. If this time and day were not selected prior to this release, they will default to 1800 on Saturday. Any changes to this reinforcement day and time take 7 days to take effect from the moment the changes are queued. If the structure is damaged or reinforced when the 7 days have elapsed, the change will not take effect until the structure returns to full health. Under this new system, the shield hit points of Upwell structures will be vulnerable to attack at all times. An initial attack can now occur at any date and any time chosen by the attackers. A second attack now occurs in the time zone of the defenders on the day chosen by the attackers. Time zone of the defenders, day chosen by the attackers, between 22 and 50 hours after the initial attack. A final battle now occurs in the time zone and day chosen by the defenders. Reinforcement, let's see. Initial attack can occur at any time. The second attack occurs in the time zone of defenders on the day chosen by attackers within 22 to 50 hours of their first attack, and the final battle occurs in the time zone and day chosen by the defenders. Okay. The reinforcement cycle times contain a random element. Cycle lengths will not always be the same. Final reinforcement times are determined by when the structure enters the reinforcement, what reinforcement day the owner of the structure has chosen, and the area of space the structure is located within. When a structure enters its final reinforcement period, it looks for the next reinforcement time on the weekly reinforcement day that occurs at least X days in the future and then randomly adds or subtracts some amount of time up to 2 hours in either direction. This X value depends on the location of the structure. 0.5 days for wormhole space, 2.5 days for low sec and null sec space, 5.5 days for high sec. And let's see, the reinforcement day and time of a structure can be discovered by any player through hacking the structure with either a data or relic analyzer. Interesting. Okay, so this is making like attacking structures much more dynamic, and it'll be interesting to see how this changes those large fleet battles that occur and how many people various alliances or corporations are able to put on the field at one time. Because if you can gear it towards your own time zone or your chosen time effectively, you'll be able to get a lot more people on because it's when you're expecting people to be on and playing. So It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. New burst projector super weapons have now been introduced, similar to those used by supercarriers. And there's a list of 7 here. Stand-up target illumination, burst projector, weapon disruption. They all have stand-up at the very beginning, so I'm just going to not say that because, yeah. Target illumination, burst projector, weapon disruption, burst projector, ECM jammer, sensor dampening, stasis webification, warp disruption, energy neutralization. All right, so new stand-up fighters, exclusive for use in upwell structures, have been introduced. They include variants of every fighter currently used by Capsuleers, including the Shadow. Standard fighters can no longer be used in upwell structures. Any standard fighters that are loaded into upwell structures can be removed but cannot be launched or reloaded. Building stand-up fighters will require a standard fighter plus some additional input equal to approximately 25% more material value. Stand-up fighter blueprints will be available on the market from any Upwell Consortium member station. The stand-up Shadow Heavy Fighter blueprint copy, or BPC, is available from Sancha's Nation Loyalty Point stores. Building stand-up shadows requires a standard shadow as an input material. Stand-up fighters will not require any Capsuleer skills to operate and do not receive any bonuses from pilot skills. However, their base stats result in massive bonuses to DPS, hit points, speed, and sensor strength. Fighters deployed from an Upwell structure will now auto-return when the controller character drops control of the structure. This will stop them from being abandoned and lost. Fighters' bay volumes have been increased significantly on all Upwell structures. Okay, let's see. Moving on to structure combat modules. They are being rebalanced. T2 stand-up modules have been introduced. New module categories have been introduced. Stand-up capacitor power relays, stand-up capacitor batteries, stand-up armor reinforcers. The stand-up warp scrambler has been changed to the stand-up focused warp disruptor, which can be scripted to provide the effects of a warp scrambler with a reduced range. The stand-up stasis webifier and the stand-up focused warp disruptor now have a reactivation delay, and their fitting is limited to 1 of each type per structure. Point defense battery modules are now limited to 1 per structure, and ROF, or rate of fire, has been reduced slightly. Stand-up ASML missile launchers have been renamed to stand-up multi-role missile launchers. Stand-up ASML SD missiles have been renamed to stand-up light missiles. Stand-up ASML MD missiles have been renamed to stand-up heavy missiles. And stand-up ASML LD missiles have been renamed to stand-up cruise missiles. So it looks like they're just sort of trying to standardize missile naming conventions across all use of missiles. The stand-up AXL missile launchers have been renamed to stand-up anti-capital missile launchers. Stand-up AXL-C missiles have been renamed to stand-up XL cruise missiles, and stand-up AXL-S missiles have renamed to stand-up super heavy torpedoes. So again, more of the same. The damage of stand-up anti-capital missiles have been reduced significantly. With the addition of T2 launchers and damage modules, Upwell structures will now do more single-target damage to subcaps, but less single-target damage to capitals. Stand-up AS guided bombs have been renamed to stand-up light guided bombs, and stand-up AM guided bombs have been renamed to stand-up heavy guided bombs. So again, with the naming light and heavy. Stand-up guided bomb launchers have had their rate of fire reduced and bomb-based damage increased. The explosion radius of the stand-up heavy guided bomb has also increased significantly. All stand-up missile and bomb launchers now require 10 seconds to reload. Large and XL structures have received a new roll bonus, increasing the rate of fire of guided bomb launchers and stand-up burst projectors. The base lock range of all large and extra-large Upwell structures has been increased, 350 kilometers for large and 400 kilometers for extra-large. Stand-up signal amplifiers and lock speed rigs now also provide bonuses to structure lock ranges. Structure lock ranges are capped at a maximum of 490 kilometers no matter how many sensor modules are fitted. All right, we'll get into a bunch more here. The CPU, power grid, and capacitor stats for numerous structures and structure modules have been rebalanced. Service modules now require vastly less CPU and power grid, and the fitting resources of all structures have been reduced to compensate. Stand-up void-guided bombs have been phased out. All existing stand-up void-guided bomb items and blueprints have been converted into items and blueprints for stand-up light-guided bombs, formerly known as stand-up AS-guided bombs. To improve the balance around using carriers from within tether range of structures, Launching fighters is now considered an aggressive action for the tethering system. This means that any carrier or subcarrier with fighters under its control will automatically break tether and remain untethered until it either recalls or abandons the fighters, or those fighters are destroyed in combat. Seems like there's a small window there where once you get your fighters destroyed, you'll get retethered and you'll be safe, but hopefully somebody thought of that, because I can't be the first one to do so. The formula for calculating asset safety values will now provide a more accurate estimate of the item value, and will be much less likely to value an item at 0 ISK. A new minimum asset safety recovery cost has been set at 0.5% of item value. This cost will be required to recover items from asset safety, even if the recovery takes place in the same solar system. Rigs fitted to structures can no longer be destroyed if the structure is not at 100% health. The damage messages received when attacking structures will now properly display the amount of damage your weapons are inflicting, even if that damage is being deflected by the structure damage cap. The amount deflected will also be shown. A new icon has been added to structure brackets in the overview and space scene to indicate whether you currently have permission to dock in that structure. If several changes happen within a 3-minute time, these changes may only be shown after this 3-minute buffer has passed. NPC corporations may now be added to access lists in the same way that player corps can be added. Unanchoring structures will now display the progress of their unanchoring time in the structure browser to characters with the station manager role. When unfitting a clone-based service module, a new pop-up message will inform you about how many jump clones would be destroyed by that action. Well, that would really suck. It is now possible to self-destruct pods inside a citadel with a cloning-based service module. Okay. Let's see. Changes to the tutorial. Added a new operation to the end of the tutorial that teaches players how to use the agency. That's nice. I'll have to make a video about that. User interface. Removed the distance filter from the sights and signatures filters, as these are restricted to current system. Autopilot can no longer be enabled while docking, or while docked. That's strange that you could enable autopilot while you were docked up, but removed the Dust 514 system channel. Goodbye, Dust 14. Removed the representation of Dust 514 mercenaries in chat channels, and removed chat options relating to infantry. Upwell structures are now listed with their name in the In Space section of the corporation assets. Defect fixes. Gameplay. Completion issue with the mission Manor Mining Colony has been fixed. Resource Wars fixed an issue where replacement orcas could have invalid cargo hold sizes. Graphics corrected an issue with missing Minmatar station icons, adjusted the brightness levels of the warning lights during a station undock, adjusted collision geometry on the low-tech solar harvester, improved the animation on strip mining turrets, returned missing elements of the results for planetary interaction scans. The recently repaired stations throughout Amar space have been properly painted with the colors of their owning corporations. Fixed an issue with the coloring on Miasmos special editions. Fixed an issue where the Domination Titan wouldn't explode on death. Well, that must have been nice. He died, but he didn't blow up. Adjusted collision geometry on the fortified drone structure. Adjusted some of the textures on the Ragnarok. Fixed an issue with strategic cruisers where kill marks could disappear after changing subsystems in space. Fixed an issue where incompatible skins could appear in the preview window for strategic cruisers. Adjusted the decals on the Raven, Golem, and Raven Navy issue. Fixed a texture issue that would occur on some ice asteroids. Corrected an issue with a section of panels on the front of the Venture hull. And the visual effect for the mobile cynosaural inhibitor has been adjusted to correct size and scale. On the market, it is no longer possible to bypass the faction warfare market restrictions by using multi-buy. Under modules, the Arbalest Compact Extra Large Torpedo Launcher is now compact. Power grid and CPU requirements have been reduced. Corrected an issue that prevented the 10% survey probe speed bonus on the T2 survey probe launcher from correctly applying. The Warp Disruption Burst Projector module now correctly deploys a 10-kilometer radius bubble as its attributes indicate. Fixed an issue that was preventing the missile velocity bonus from the Stand-Up Missile Guidance Enhancer module from applying at full strength. The Gravitational Transportation Field Oscillator no longer warp scrambles targets that it transports. Ships that are too large to be transported will still be warp scrambled as usual. The missile damage bonus from stand-up ballistic control system modules is now correctly impacted by stacking penalties. Under miscellaneous, fixed an issue where stand-up M-set ammunition manufacturing material efficiency 1 and 2 showed the wrong tech level. It's no longer possible to sell empty capsules through contracts. And several types of beacons have been made untargetable because accidentally targeting a beacon is annoying. That's true. PvE. Fixing neutralizer duration on Kelm, Soran, and Unit P343554 NPCs. Sure. Fixed an issue where the mission item could be destroyed in cash flow for Capsuleers 4 of 10. I would guess that will help a lot of you. Decrease the amount of ammunition required in the Balancing the Books 10 of 10 mission. That too will help many people. Fixed a formatting issue in the 5th Exploration Career Mission completion text. Fixed some NPC naming and modal irregularities in the General's Best Friend mission. Let's see. Science and Industry. Fixed an issue where the industry window would not retain the number of job runs for the first blueprint listed. Fixed an issue where a full research blueprint would display as 10,000 runs remaining in the industry window. The skill required for manufacturing stand-up anti-capital missile launcher 1 modules, formerly known as stand-up AXL missile launchers, has been changed from capital ship construction to outpost construction to bring it in line with other similar structure modules. Ships. The Shadow Fighter True Sacrifice ability now works against Rorquals. Traits on faction titans now linked to the phenomena generation skill instead of racial phenomena generators. Structures and deployables. Movement shortcuts are now correctly disabled when controlling an upwell structure. Players controlling upwell structures no longer appear in the list of pilots that can be invited to install a clone in the Clone VAT Bay. It is now possible to delete bookmarks of upwell structures that have been unanchored or destroyed. That would have sucked also to be unable to delete bookmarks. Tutorials. Fixed an issue preventing players from completing the Complete the Industry job task if they delivered the job too soon. Fixed the Purchase a Blueprint task so that it can be completed using multi-buy as well. Fixed an issue that could cause players to get stuck on the Load Your Ammo task. Fixed various text, voiceover, and naming issues. And improved the operations tutorial experience by adding checks to prevent players from getting stuck during the wreckage site loot operation in the case that survivors are retrieved before instructions are issued. Yeah, I can see that probably would have happened as well. And a bunch of changes for the user interface. Fixed an issue where the buy now and buy as gift options could hang out of the New Eden store windows. Fixed an issue where it was possible to spam the overload state is locked message all over the screen. The incursion info panel will no longer be removed if a forward operating base is destroyed within the solar system. Fixed an issue where faction warfare agents were not filtering properly in the agency. Fixed corporations and alliances having a one-click chat button and in people and places. A naming issue with an object inside the core garrison site has been fixed. The missing gender attribute has been added to various clothing items. Fixed an issue where some players had broken missions from an old tutorial in their journals. Fixed an issue where the recruitment tab would occasionally appear in the home tab of the corporation window. Casting a vote in a corporate vote no longer collapses all votes in the window. The inventory window will no longer close when assuming control of an upwell structure. Fixed an issue where the fighter HUD could end up misaligned to the far left of the screen. The name of a structure will now be correctly autofilled in a new saved location when controlling a structure. Fixed an issue where, after switching view mode for results in the Find Member in Role tab of the corporation window, the current results would disappear. The Show Info window of a simulated ship with a modified warp speed now correctly shows that the value has been modified. Fighter tubes now correctly have a tooltip in the fighter HUD. Fixed an issue where the structure browser would retain the search term filtering while clearing the search text field upon closing and reopening. The shattered ice field now displays its information correctly in the agency. Fixed an issue where the subsystem icons would slightly misalign in the fitting simulation window. Fixed an issue with importing fittings from clipboard on localized clients. Fixed an issue with exporting fittings with invalid modules as .xml file. Fixed grammar issues or grammatical issues, if you wanted to be grammatically correct, in various item info texts. Fixed an issue where the agency could appear broken on suggested combat and epic arc filters. and 2 third-party developers to wrap things up. A couple changes to the Crest API. They removed the get to /corporation/corporation ID, and I won't read off all of these, but they removed a get and they removed a put. And you can see the dev blog for full details on these changes. And that's it for the February patch notes to EVE Online. Like I said previously, a lot of changes to player structures, and it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds throughout. And I'm also personally really interested to see how the assault frigate and the heavy assault cruiser changes impact what I guess people would call the meta. And I like flying smaller ships, and the assault cruisers assault frigates were something that I built up to early on in like 2005 or 2006, and then quickly found that they were not very useful. So that was disappointing. But that's it. Thank you for watching. Find me over on Twitch at Vinsis. You can find me on YouTube at Vinsis Gaming. Appreciate your support. If you have any comments, questions, or anything you'd like to add, hit me up in the comments here or shoot me an email. And my contact information is peppered throughout. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in space.